To start off this look, I'm going to prep her lips with a lip balm of your choice. And then I'm going to go in with the Smashbox 24-Hour Shadow Primer, and I'm going to prep her lid from her lash line to her brow bone. And I'm actually running this product through her brows as well because it will just help the product stay on a little bit better. And I'm going to be using some different brow products today, so I just want to make sure that everything stays in place. This Tarte product is so awesome. I definitely recommend getting it. It is a moisturizer that is called Brighter Days, and I'm taking about a pea-sized amount, and I'm really just going to massage this into her skin. I spend about 2 minutes making sure that her skin is really nice and prepped. She has pretty normal skin. She's not really dry. Just underneath the eye, she's a little bit dry, so I just really want to focus the product to make sure that when we add our makeup on top, it just looks really smooth, but you're going to want to take some time to do the prepping. And then just to make sure that she is radiant and glowy, I'm going to finish this off with a setting spray by Smashbox Primer Water. For her shadow today, I'm going to be working from the Carly Bible palette. You can actually get this palette at Ulta. And then I am going to be applying the first color with my shadow brush. So I'm going to be taking this Bone shade, and I want to make sure that I set that primer because it's going to be pretty tacky. So I'm really just going to be running this from her lash line to her brow bone. Going in with my next shade, I did switch brushes. I use a crease brush, and I'm actually going to use this matte, kind of like a light plum shade. It's really beautiful. I chose this color because she has blue eyes, so I wanted something a little bit more purple because it's really going to make her eyes pop in the end of this look. So I'm actually running this color. It is a matte shade. I'm running it through her crease. She's a little bit hooded, so I just want to make sure that I define the crease up a little bit more so that she doesn't look so hooded. I will add lashes to make her look a little bit more lifted, but that's what I'm doing with this color in the beginning. You'll notice that I am using back and forth motions and using circle motions. I just really want it to be buffed and blended. I don't want to see any harsh lines. So I'm really just taking my time to really get the pigmentation that I want, but to make sure that it's really buffed out. Going into that same palette, I did switch to a bullet brush. It's a little bit shorter and more dense. I am going in with this deeper plum shade, and I'm going to be running this on the outer edges of her eye to build depth and definition. And I just really want to be able to define her eye so that we're really lifted and elongated and more almond shape, so we don't see as much hooded effects on her eye. So I'm just really marrying these two plum shades together on the edges of her eyes. I'm not really bringing this darker plum shade up all the way through her crease. I just want the two shades to look like they are one shade. Switching to an even smaller bullet brush, I'm just going to be using this really dark, deep plum color in the palette. It's also a matte shade. So I'm going to be taking this color and I'm going to be really focusing this on the outer edges of her eye, a little bit along the lashes, like the top of her lashes, but I'm really just wanting this to be an outer edge focus and nothing more. You'll also notice that because she's just a little bit more hooded, I've just decided to pull up a little bit on her brow bone just to make sure that I get the color in there all nice and soft and smooth, so there is nothing that is uneven in texture. So for this next step, I'm actually just going to be using my finger. This is a little bit of a shimmer shade. It's more like a sheen, and I just feel like I can pick up the pigment easier and press it onto her lid. I don't really want to be using it back and forth. I just want to be pressing it into her lid for this part. Switching back to my shader brush that I use with this bone shade, I'm actually just going to be buffing this along where I just did that little shimmer sheen color, just because it was a little bit more shimmery than I anticipated. So if you use a shimmer shade, sometimes it can look too frosty, so I just wanted to tone it down a little bit with this matte shade. Switching back to my crease brush that I used, I have no additional product. It just had product what was left on it from when I used it earlier on her look. I'm literally just going to be taking this crease brush and buffing all of the shades together so they look really smooth, even, and blended. I've gotten a little bit of fallout, so I'm actually just taking these Tarte wipes and I am just cleaning up underneath her eyes. I'm taking another bullet brush. This is a synthetic one, so it works great for cream products. I'm going to be using this Smashbox. It was a holiday palette, so I don't think you can get it anymore. But I'm going to be using this peach corrector underneath her eyes. The peach will counteract any darkness that shows in your client's eyes. So I'm taking a little bit of this color and just placing it underneath her eyes in a very light, smooth amount. For foundation, I chose the Smashbox BB Water. It's really light in texture and buildable. I chose this for her foundation, and I'm going in with my Beauty Blender, and I'm really just taking a small amount on the back of my hand, and I'm just using the Beauty Blender to just blend it into the skin. The Beauty Blender is awesome because it absorbs any excess product that you might have on your client's skin, especially for more mature clients. We definitely don't want anything to settle or look cakey or settle into the fine lines. So a beauty blender is something that I highly recommend. To highlight even further, I have chose the Smashbox Studio Skin 24-Hour Concealer. And then for her brows, I'm actually using something different. I've never used this product before, but it's the ColourPop Dope Taupe color in a brow product that is a pomade. So I'm actually just going to be using a very small angled brush for this product. And right now I'm just combing through her brows, making sure that there's no product running through them so that the product that I'm going to be adding into her brows goes on smooth and perfect. After using the pomade, I've actually decided to use a skinny pencil for her brow just to perfect it in some areas where I didn't want it to look too harsh. I wanted it to be more like hair-like strokes. So I chose this really skinny pencil, also from ColourPop. It's in the color Dope Taupe as well, so it will match. So what I'm actually doing is just really using light strokes and just making the pencil look like it's real hairs. Going back into the Carly Bible palette, I'm going to be using this highlighter. It's really like a pearly, soft shade. It doesn't have a lot of sparkle. It just has a really beautiful sheen to it. I'm going to be adding this to the top of her cheekbones. For her bronzer, I have chosen to go in with the Smashbox Shape Matters palette. I'm going to be using this really dense bronzer brush. And I'm going to be taking the bronzer shade from the back of her hairline in the socket of her cheekbone. And I'm going to be running this towards the apples of her cheeks. But I really want to cup her cheeks. We want to make sure that they look lifted and sculpted. So I'm actually just doing it like a contour, but I didn't want it to be so harsh. I just wanted to give her a little bit of warmth. So I chose to do bronzer instead of a contour color. But you'll notice that I'm doing it in a C shape instead of straight down towards the corner of the mouth. So before we move on to mascara, I'm actually going to take this eyeliner from Smashbox in the color Sumatra. It's a dark brown color. What I'm going to be doing with this is actually tight lining. And what this is going to do is enhance her eye shape and really look beautiful when I add lashes, but it's going to really make the client's lashes look fuller and her eye shape will be a lot more defined. Going in with one of my favorite mascaras, this is the Full Exposure Mascara from Smashbox. I'm going to be taking a new mascara wand and I'm just going to be coating her lashes. Now that I've added mascara, I'm going to pop on some individual lashes, and I'm going to be using the House of Lashes glue, and the lashes that I'll be using are from the brand Kiss, and they are actually lashes that are in like trios. What I'm doing is actually taking my tweezers, and I'm going with that second line, which is actually the short version lashes. So I've chosen to use the short versions because I don't want her lashes to be super long. So I'm just popping these on, and I use 3 on each end of the short length. And then I will show you what I do once we get towards the center of her eye. So going back into the Kiss lashes, I'm going to be using the extra short length. This is the top row, and I'm going to use 2 of these on the inner corner of her eyes. Now that we have finished the lashes, I'm actually going to go back into this Carly Bible palette with the small bullet brush, and I'm going to be taking that first plum shade and running this along her lash line. I want to give her a little bit of smokiness, but not anything that's too dark, so I'm still going in with the plum shades. To deepen the definition, I'm going in with a smaller bullet brush, and I'm going to be taking this dark plum shade, and I'm just going to be running this really closely to her lash line, marrying those 2 bottom plum shades together along her bottom lash line. Moving on to lips, I'm going to be using one of my favorite lip liners from NYX. It is the number 860. I can't remember the name, but it's a really neutral, light pinky shade. And I'm just going to be defining her lips and just giving her a lip line. But I'm actually going to be filling in her whole entire lips with this lip color. To top off her lip color, I chose this lip product from Butter. It's actually like a lip oil. It comes in like this little pump tube, and it's just really glossy and really nourishing. To finish this look, I'm going to be using the Smashbox Primer Water, and I'm just going to mist this all across her face to hold everything in place and make her skin look fresh and glowy. And this is the final look on my beautiful client.